Montana has many spectacular places where geology is just in your face. Huge glacially sculpted mountains and enormous caverns, as well as funny-shaped hoodoos, get a lot of the attention. The area we are driving through is part of the Medicine Lake National Wildlife Refuge. Here's some of the geology is on display. We will look at some evidence for glaciers that sculpted the prairie in subtle ways and left behind reminders of great ice sheets. However, perhaps the most interesting part of this geosite is what we cannot see. It is the Medicine Lake Aquifer. Sands and gravels of what was once the Missouri River are now buried by glacial sediments. They hold an important freshwater reserve for this area. Incredibly, some of the lakes you can see here are connected to the aquifer, and some aren't, creating a wonderful geologic diversity. The aquifer is an important resource in this area, and we will see how the different waters provide habitat for different wildlife and fresh water for irrigation.
This is a really great place to talk about how these lakes formed. So let's make some observations. So the hills in front of me are nice and rounded and smoothed off. And then we have this very large boulder sitting out here in the middle of a field. And let's take a look at this boulder to see what composition is. And indeed, it's a crystalline rock. It's a granite. So most likely, this is a glacial erratic that was brought down from the mountains somewhere by the last continental ice sheet. That ice sheet also rounded these hills, and indeed the Missouri River used to flow north towards Hudson Bay, and that ice sheet pushed that river and reoriented it to where it is today. Also, that glacier dug out these pothole lakes that you can see to our right and behind us, Medicine Lake being one of them. So glaciation has had a huge influence on this landscape. It's covered the area in sediments like this erratic, and also it buried that channel from the old Missouri River, which is now thought to be the Clear Lake Aquifer, which is underneath this entire area in that old Missouri River channel sediments. Wonderful place to think about glaciers impacting the landscape and providing resources for us today. So we're at a fascinating spot here to think about the aquifer well below us. On my left is Brush Lake. That's about 60 feet deep, and it's thought to be connected to that aquifer. So it's interacting with the groundwater. This little lake on the right is obviously very shallow, and it's not going to be connected to that groundwater. So you notice a difference in water quality, color, pH is going to be very different. And so it's a really interesting spot to think about the resources below us and how they interact with the surface, and how we might use that water in this area for agriculture and drinking water. Fascinating place to think about what's below our feet in that ancestral Missouri River channel. And that Missouri River was rerouted by the last glaciation. Fascinating stuff out here, even though you can't see it all.
As we fly up over the landscape, we can see lakes very close to one another that look very different. One of the two larger lakes, the one on the right, is Brush Lake, where we just were. It is 60 feet deep and connected to the Medicine Lake buried channel aquifer and has a higher pH than its surrounding waters. The large lake on the left is much shallower and is far saltier. This is because of the salts of the surface water are concentrated by evapoconcentration. Geology isn't the only diversity in this area. The place is teeming with all sorts of different wildlife. In this little bay of Medicine Lake, painted turtles play coy with my camera. When I walk away, they come out and play. And when I try to catch a glimpse, they make themselves scarce. So let's walk away for a bit and see how they behave. Agriculture is very important in this part of Montana, and groundwater from the buried channel aquifer plays a huge role. Here we drive past a large pivot, and I'm trying to get a free truck wash. Rapeseed, more commonly known to us as canola, is the crop that creates these vibrant yellow fields in our Montana summers. Certainly, irrigation from the hidden resource below helps these plants grow. The waters also provide habitat for at least 238 bird species. As you drive in this area, you see them everywhere. Here, they like to congregate on the road and scatter as I drive through, only to regroup when I'm past. That's fun to watch. The buried channel aquifer and surface waters provide a phenomenal resource for this part of northeastern Montana. Even though the geology is more subtle than a lot of the state, it is no less impressive. What a great Montana geosite.